Take the exit. Turn right into the drive-thru.
Nope, I'm making dinner tonight.
You don't have time. Josh has practice.
Oh, that's right. I'll just get a salad.
And fries?
No, just the salad.
But salad cancels fries.
Salad only.
Fries.
Salad.
Fries.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. The affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on the road to successful weight loss.
Hey, can I get the...
Fries.
Salad. Sorry.
Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
Welcome back to Still a Part of Us. We have just had a wonderful, heartbreaking conversation with Bethany about her little guy, Milo. And I'm so grateful for the time to get to know him and to get to know her and her family. And I feel like Milo is just a little bright light. And I'm just so sad. You guys have to listen to this episode, but it was heartbreaking. And so, Bethany, thank you so much for coming on again so we can talk about this stinky journey that we're on together. Mm-hmm. It just is, it's tough. But thank you so much again for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Just so we have a kind of a point of reference, tell us what happened to Milo and how long ago was he born at the time of this recording that we're as of today.
Yeah, so Milo passed away at 34 weeks due to placenta insufficiency. That really was medical negligence. So he really should be here. And he passed away just over a year ago. So we just celebrated his birthday on January 28th. He had died on January 25th. So it's just been just over a year.
Yeah, just a handful of days. And I cannot encourage you enough to everybody to go and listen to his birth episode because it's heart-wrenching and beautiful, and it's a time to cry together. And yeah, it was beautiful. And Bethany, I think, did great justice to tell everybody about her little son. So it was beautiful. So Bethany, I know it's been a year, and those anniversaries, those birthdays, and even death anniversaries are really tricky and hard. And so I just kind of wanted to touch on that first. How was that? Is there anything you guys did to celebrate or to commemorate, to acknowledge those days when they came?
Yeah, it was kind of this whole month, or the whole month of January. I honestly, ever since he's died, because he died in January, I felt like I couldn't get out of January. Oh, and I honestly still feel like I'm in January.
Yeah.
And now we're out of January again, and that's happening again. And I still feel like we're in January. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah. But if you listen to the story before that critical appointment that basically decided that Milo was going to die with my doctor's decision was on January 7th. So January 7th, all the way leading up to the 25th, and then his birthday, I kind of almost felt like everything happening again. I felt like I was living in parallel to last year. I felt like that was this whole last year of just kind of living in parallel. Just my friend has told me that's also really just normal with having a baby, that you kind of go back in your mind of like, oh, this time last year I was pregnant with them. Yeah. But to do it as a lost mom is so much more painful and brutal. And so I feel like this whole year I've lived in parallel with the year of carrying Milo for almost 9 months. But January 7th was when it really began of like, this is the day that decided he wasn't going to live. And then I just feel like I almost was experiencing that slow death that he did. And I just felt my body in pain again. I felt like it was hard to breathe again. I felt like I was right back in the beginning. And then, January 25th, we just knew we wanted to, which is the day Milo died, the anniversary of that. We knew we wanted to get out of the house. I had originally been like, should I not be with Lincoln? But I also I want to be with Lincoln. Also, Lincoln's his big brother and he's our family. And it's like, I want him to be a part of this as much as possible, no matter how little he is. And as much as there's bits of it, I'm still trying to protect him from. There's other parts that it's like, I don't want to just send him off to Nana and Papa's. And, I want him, he sees me cry a lot and we talk about Milo a lot, but we went to this place called the Broadmoor, which is really, really beautiful. We just love the grounds there, and it's just kind of reminded us of Milo. So we went there, we went swimming.
Mm.
We tried to just do something that got us out of the house, doing something that just, of course, we're thinking about Milo, but we're also trying to connect as a family for Milo, because it's like, you know, there you have a choice after your child dies. It's like, are you going to keep living, or are you going to stop? And even if you're physically here, you can choose to kind of not live anymore, and, you know, like still be here, but not really here.
Mm-hmm.
And I want more for Milo, not just for our family, not just for Lincoln, not just for me, like all of that too, but I want more for Milo, because Milo didn't deserve to die.
Yeah.
Milo deserves to be here. And he doesn't deserve for not only to have lost his life, but then for his family to just be ruined, you know?
Yes.
His mom can't get out of bed ever again, whatever that were to look like. I refuse for it. The worst already happened. I'm demanding and I'm fighting for any kind of beauty to follow. That's his beauty. And I'm fighting for that. And you know, I'm sure so many moms know this, but as lost moms, like we carry our baby's cells inside of our body. And so it's like, I'm the only living piece of him too.
Yeah.
So me choosing to keep living and to keep going, to keep being me as much as possible is in a sense living for him the most that he possibly can, because his cells are only in me, you know? So we did that. And then on his birthday, I had weeks before, I had asked my closest people to bake him a cake with sprinkles.
Yeah.
Because that's my thing for him. His memorial cake was covered in sprinkles. And so I was like, okay, I can do this alone. I can celebrate him alone, just me and my family. And I can also, no matter where these loved ones are, you know, Simon's parents are in England, whatever, I can ask them to bake them a cake wherever they are in the comfort of their own home. Bake a cake for Milo with tons of sprinkles.
Yeah.
To think about him, to honor him, to celebrate him. It's like it was a way for me to not feel entirely alone. Because no one can take the pain or the weight from you, especially as the mother. Like you've got, but to just feel like he's being honored and he's being thought about. Like the fact, you know, I asked them to bake a cake because it's like his name is in their homes. Oh, I've got to bake a cake for Milo, and I got to go get Milo's stuff for his cake. And, you know, they're cleaning up the mess from Milo, and so many of them sent me videos of singing happy birthday to Milo. I'll have to send it to you directly, but I made an Instagram reel of all the cakes that were made. 35 cakes were made with sprinkles for Milo.
Is awesome.
And so many people singing to him, saying, "We love you, Milo." And then ours is at the very end of us singing to him, which we break down crying because, you know, just to sing to your baby, that's already kind of an emotional moment. I remember with Lincoln's first birthday, my first son, his first birthday, it's kind of an emotional moment.
It is.
You're like, it's also your day as the mother.
Yes, you're like
birthed them or whatever, you know?
And you're like, I kept him alive for you're just like, he's here, it's
your day as well. As much as it's really celebrating their life, it's also like you're so tied to it, and it's so emotional. But then to not have them physically there, but to sing them happy birthday, it's just a new level of pain. That's just, you know, I wouldn't wish on anyone, but. Just to be sent all these videos of like, "We love you, Milo, happy birthday," and just singing happy birthday, all these cakes just full of sprinkles for him.
That is so wonderful.
I had friends just being like, "Thank you for asking me to do this, because I got to talk to my kids. I got to tell his story to my children." You know, like it was like it did exactly what I wanted. It got these people talking about him way more than because it was beyond just the closest people like Jess and Christina and Erica. It was beyond just those people that were doing it, that maybe weren't really talking about him ever in their homes, but had to for this time. And there was something so beautiful in it, just to imagine Milo from heaven, just the view that he had of like all his little sprinkle cakes, you know, and all the people singing and blowing out candles for him. It's like, it just, it made the most out of a horrendous,
Yeah.
painful thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's all we can do. The worst thing already happened.
Yeah.
But how do we still love on these babies? How do we still celebrate them? How do we ask other people to enter into it with us in any capacity?
Yeah.
You know?
It is so hard because it's like this balance for a lot of people because they don't want to bring stuff up, right? They have fear on how to do it. And you asking them to do a very specific thing invites them into do something happy, something that is, it doesn't necessarily feel, I mean, yes, he's gone. We're celebrating his birthday, but he's gone. But it's a way to acknowledge that he was and
that he was real and that he did live and that he's and I think beyond, those closest people, like I've said, I know that they love him, but asking these other people, but beyond just those people to bake the cake, it's like, they listened to me and they were like, yeah, I'll do it. But it's like, and maybe they entered into just, they've always felt so bad for me, and but it's like, maybe they've left this experience now, like having some sort of love for him that they didn't have before, of just knowing the death itself and it stopping there. Oh, how sad that their son died. But it's like, I want more. I want more for Milo. I want more for me.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked them to do that. So I kind of dumped my heart into even just making the reel of just showing all the people that did it. Yeah. And we also released some balloons for him, which I know isn't great for the environment, but I didn't get to do the lanterns, and we just released a couple balloons. Lincoln drew him a picture and me and Simon wrote him something, and then we sent balloons off, and Christina also came over, got some pictures his birthday, and my neighbor friend Shannon also started taking pictures. And on the day of his birthday, she was like, I know you, and I know that you're making everything so beautiful. Can I come over and take pictures of the cake? And I was just like, yes,
thank you.
I brought out every teddy bear in our home. I put them all in party hats. And I had painted a picture of his memorial cake that says Milo, so that was out. I had balloons. I had like his urn and the light, which is like the bird. I had a bouquet of flowers made that are all of my flowers for him. Like his carnations are his birth flower. Eucalyptus also reminds us of him. But then also the colors that are my Milo colors were also in it. So I got to work with the florist, who was so kind to just make me this bouquet. And I made the whole cake from scratch, like even the frosting. And I've never been much of a cake decorator, but I got edible glitter. I got every kind of cool sprinkle I could find that just reminded me of Milo. It made such a mess. And honestly, like finishing it, I was like, I want to find a way to make more Milo messes.
Yeah.
I want more Milo messes in my home.
Because that's what you would be doing. You'd be cleaning up after him.
Yeah. Like what Lincoln sometimes, we finished his nursery, and I finished his nursery with exactly how I was always doing it with when he was here. And it was basically everything I had already bought just had to be finished. And so it's been such a good place to come and grieve and just feel like I can spend time with him somehow in here. But Lincoln comes in here and he's like, can I play with Milo's teddy? Can I play with that? And sometimes he'll just make a mess in here, and it does something for me. It's like, it might not be Milo's mess, but in a way it is, because it's Milo's room and it's Milo's stuff, and it's his brother wanting to share his stuff. And so we come in here and we play in here, and it's been such a gift. So it was so much further. Like I had said, I was going to finish his room to just grieve in here. But it's been further than that, because life also happens in here.
Yes.
And that's been so important. Like we finished our fireplace area right the day before Milo died. The contractor was there. And then the day after Milo died. So it basically got finished. And it was kind of something I looked at and was like, hated, because it just reminded me of him dying.
Yeah.
But now I've just added all of these plants to just somehow bring life, like these plants that trail down. Like I almost want it to become this living wall.
Oh, yes.
Just like this living Milo wall.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, so it's starting. It's like there's these plants that are trailing down, but it's just trying to hold on to anything. I sent his memorial flowers. I had sent off to be pressed into a frame. So I have those pressed in a frame, hung up. I had a company make his little footprints into dried flowers that are all like my flowers for him.
Cool.
But it's his exact feet, his exact prints, his exact the size and everything. So his little feet had the breast milk jewelry made with the cremation ashes. It's like that is, Simon, right after he died, he's like, I just want some sort of beauty to come from ashes, and literal ashes, because we got him cremated.
Yeah.
But it's like, and beauty for him. Like, just, I've told people, I want you to come to my home, and I'm not there yet, but I want you to come to my home, and I want it to share Milo's story. I want it to tell the story of the four of us, all of us, with him in it. I want you to almost be able to spend my time with Milo in a way, just because you're here. And I've so thought about every piece and put effort into making things beautiful for him. And so that's something that I'm trying to do. But yeah, we sang happy birthday to him. We ate the sprinkle cake. I had a little teddy bear made out of fondant on the cake too. We released balloons, and I really crashed the day after. I think.
Yes.
I don't know if you found that too, but it's like, I was really crying. It's like, you're never not grieving and feeling the pain, but there's like something, my therapist says it's almost like bracing. Like if you had like a really bad broken bone, and then you brace and it feels a little bit better to go. But then if you take off the brace, you feel it. And it's like, sometimes just with being a mother still, I have to brace. I have to brace because I have to keep taking care of Lincoln. Also, I wanted to celebrate Milo. I wanted to celebrate him. And yes, I'm going to cry because he's not there. Yes, it's going to be painful, but I needed to get out of bed, and I needed to do it. And I needed to show up for Lincoln and Milo as much as possible that day. But then I've just found that then sometimes the aftermath of that is like, your grief is like, wow, like I'm here. I'm waiting for you. I'm going to knock you down now.
I'm going to just remind you.
Yeah. So that definitely happened the next day after that. But yeah, we did the best that we could do on a really painful day. I think something that was really hard leading up to his birthday is I was telling Lincoln, we're going to bake a cake for Milo. And I don't remember, I had been talking about it. And then I was like, we're going to have a birthday party for Milo's first birthday. And then his eyes lit up and he was like, Mama, Milo's coming.
Break
and
my
he
heart.
hadn't, it's just like he in his little 3-year-old mind, if we're having a party and we're going to have balloons and we're going to have a sprinkle cake, he's coming.
The guest of honor obviously should be there.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And so I was telling Jess about it, and she was like, make sure you just tell him too, buddy, this is confusing. It's okay to be confused because yes, typically when you are honoring somebody and it's somebody's birthday, they're there.
Yeah.
And I always just try and tell him, you know what? He is here. His spirit is here as much as possible. He's your brother. He's my baby. He is here, but not in the way we want him to be, and not in the physical, tangible way. But that doesn't mean he's not real, and it doesn't mean he's not here.
Yeah.
And so I think, but then I brought out some of his birth photos, and Lincoln, looking at those again, was like, so Mama, were you in heaven when you took these?
Oh.
Because he understands Milo is in heaven. So if I was ever holding his body, then I must have been in heaven with Milo. And it's something, I have a friend that had her baby die at 18 months to leukemia.
Oh.
And her daughter was like maybe a little older than Lincoln when her baby died. But she said that what's really kind of painful is that every year it's like her daughter puts more pieces together of the puzzle of like, of asking deeper, harder questions and trying to wrap her mind around it more.
Yeah.
And that's happening with Lincoln, like around, like right after his birthday, the next day that I was crashing, like I talked about. Lincoln woke up just crying for Milo. And then he wanted to hold the teddy. I had a teddy bear made that's his exact height and weight at birth.
Mm-hmm.
And it had his little birthday crown on him, and Lincoln was holding it. And I have this video of Lincoln just losing it. He's looking at the teddy bear, just crying, like he is grieving in his 3.5-year-old way.
Yeah.
Because I think for him, it was like, even though I kept telling him he's not going to come, I think in the back of his mind, he's like, maybe he is going to show up to his birthday party.
Yeah.
And then because he didn't, I think it was hard for him. And I think he is having a lot of questions like that of like, he's like, Mama, does he have that blanket and Lovey with him in heaven? Like, what does he have with him? And but whereas in the beginning, he was just like, I want to hold Milo. Where's baby Milo? And it was just less deep, and it's becoming deeper as time goes on. And part of the pain of it too is that I have to find it in me to still mother him, even though it's my baby that died.
Yeah.
And it's so painful that it knocks me down. I try and not spiral too much when Lincoln needs me in those moments. I might cry a little bit, but I'm like, I don't want to become unsafe for him. I don't ever want his brain to be like, oh, if I bring up Milo, Mom's going to lose it.
Yeah.
Because also my heart needs it. Just like his heart needs it, my heart needs to talk to Lincoln about Milo.
Yes.
And so I try so hard to just like embrace those moments, as painful as they are, embrace his questions, even if I don't know how to answer them. It started really early with, like, honestly, even just weeks after Milo died. We had kind of told him a little bit, like, oh, Milo's not here anymore. Milo died, but he was 2.5, and we were just experiencing so much ourselves. But he just had this tantrum, and he doesn't normally tantrum. And he had this tantrum that just was not ending. And I just felt so deeply like this is about Milo. And it's not just about Milo. It's about how everything's changed since Milo. And so I just started saying things that I felt like, Lincoln, Mama's been different, haven't I? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, Lincoln, you were ready for Milo to come home, weren't you? And he goes, yeah, I wanted to share my toys, which my whole pregnancy I talked about how he's going to share his toys. But every time I talked about it, he'd be like, no, I'm not going to share my toys. So he was like, I was going to share my toys. It's like in his own little way. He was like,
he was prepping.
I was ready. Yeah. And then he had tears in his eyes. This is still when he's 2.5, because this had just happened. He had tears in his eyes. He's looking at me. He's not tantruming anymore. He's looking directly at me. It was like, it almost felt like just human to human. It wasn't just mother and son. It was like almost just like our souls and our hearts were connecting. And he was like, Mama, what happened? And I was like, oh, buddy, Milo got sick in a way that he could have been helped, but we didn't know. And it's not a sickness you can get, because little ones can like take that on of like, oh, am I going to get that? I'm like, but he died, and I so wanted to bring him home, and I so wanted you to hold him, and I was crying, and he was crying, and he was asking questions, and he was 2.5, and it just felt like this was beyond. This was just beyond any moment I think I had ever experienced with him.
Yeah.
Something broke in that moment too. I apologized. I was like, Lincoln, your body and your mind and your heart has taken on more than what we've known. And he was like, yeah. Because it's like, I feel like that's what he was trying to tell me, is like we were kind of avoiding talking to him about it. But he's like, I can see it.
Yes.
I'm feeling it. I'm living it with you. Face this with me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm here. I'm facing it with you. And whoa, it was so painful, and it was so beautiful. And Simon it was just me and Lincoln, and it was supposed to be that. And something broke in that moment of just his heart heard things, and just the person of Lincoln beyond just the 2.5-year-old version of him connected with me and heard things and kind of grieved with me and cried with me. And it was so beautiful. And he blows me away all the time.
Yeah.
He blows me away. And even just, he'll be like, Milo's home is always inside of mama. And like, he'll just say these like beautiful things. He's incredible. And one day he was like, Mama, your heart's broken because of Milo. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, will it ever get fixed? And he said, no. And I told my friend Jess, I was like, oh, this was brutal. And she was like, yeah, but he's right.
I was like,
she was like, and you wouldn't want him to say that it's going to get fixed.
Yeah, because it's
like, there's beauty in that. Lincoln's like, yeah, your heart's broken and it's going to stay broken, but I love you anyways, and yeah, he's incredible. I hate the people that say, like, at least you have Lincoln, because it's like, no, Lincoln doesn't replace Milo. Don't put that on Lincoln.
Nope.
And don't take something from Milo.
Exactly.
Like,
they're two different people.
Yeah. Yes. And I still get to be Lincoln's mom and I still get to be Milo's mom, just not in the way I want. But yeah, I'm constantly trying to make him a part of everything. Yeah. And even when Lincoln draws pictures, he's like, he always draws Milo too. And I think that's been beautiful, but also seeing him put together more pieces to the puzzle is also painful, I wish he could just stay naive forever. And also my therapist has said, with the nature of my story, Lincoln will probably feel a certain level of survivor's guilt at some point of just like, because he's a walking, breathing vision of what should have been with Milo.
Yeah. I mean, and he had a rough time too, like,
he almost lost his life to exactly what Milo did.
Yeah.
So he's that breathing, living version. And I'm so grateful that he's here. But it's like, I think what's so painful is that Lincoln's story should have saved Milo's life. Lincoln almost dying should have meant that Milo never would have died.
Yeah.
And now, if I do have another kid, now that I've had a baby die, I'm sure I'm going to be treated the most high risk. So Milo dying, I'm sure, would save another baby in the future. But Lincoln almost dying should have saved Milo.
Yes.
Yeah. So
for sure. I think our kids are a little bit more in tune with things than we give them credit for a lot of times. And yes, I feel like my daughter did the same thing. Like she had a definite intuition about what was going on, even when she was only 3. Like, it was, they just know, I feel like. So and they see the change in us, and that changes them too.
There's a huge change. We talk about the grief change. We talk about the grief for us of feeling like a different person, but then imagine being mothered by that person that's all of a sudden different. And even if there's good qualities that have come about, there's also some negative ones, because like, I am experiencing hell. And I hate that for him. I hate it. And people have even said, Lincoln's going to grow into the most amazing human because of this. And I'm like, I wish I could meet the Lincoln that would have been with his brother here.
Yeah.
Even if Lincoln is going to just be the most incredible human that I will love more than anything. I wish that for him and for me. I just wish I could meet that Lincoln that was going to be with his little brother that annoyed him.
You mourn that too. Like, people don't realize that you're not just mourning a baby, you're mourning like what life would have looked like, and that future that I don't think people realize how much that shatters your heart, because you just have this picture of your 2 boys playing together, right? And fighting over toys and and it's not there. And that is hard. That is really, really hard.
And it's a constant. It's every day. It's like Lincoln's playing with these tiny toys that I would be terrified if Milo were here, that Milo would be choking.
Exactly.
But somehow it's okay because Milo's not here. But then that makes it so wrong.
Yeah. You're just like,
and
I should be freaking out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's everything. It's everything. And Lincoln had a dream the other night and he woke up crying. I have a video of it. It's on the monitor. He was like, I want I want to be with baby Milo. I want to be with baby Milo. And I went in the room and I was like, buddy, what's going on? And he was like, I had a dream with baby Milo. And
Oh,
I was holding him and he fell asleep in my arms. And he asked to take my favorite teddy bear to heaven. And I said, no. And he asked to take my bucket hat, which he wears this hat all the time. And I said, no, but I told him he could take the black one, which is like such an older sibling thing. Like, take the one that I don't care about. But he was like, Mama, he said, I was protecting him. I was holding him. And he said, you came in, Mama, and you said, oh, so cute. Because I was holding Milo. And he had this whole dream. And that's how it started off his day, by crying and asking to hold the bear and stuff, because it was like, he had this dream and he basically was crying that he was like, I didn't want it to end. Yeah. And then I said, how did the dream end? And he said, we all went to heaven to be with baby Milo. I want to go there and be with baby Milo. And then I think it was the day before his death anniversary, Lincoln got injured. He's fine, but his hand was hurting and he was really crying. And he was like, I just want to go to heaven and be with baby Milo. And he's just saying stuff like that. But that dream felt like kind of a gift, but then also it made him cry because he was like, I want that. Like, even just my little tiny 3-year-old was like, I had a dream that he was here and it was great. And I want to go have that.
Be part
now.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
man, those kids, they're just, I know.
And I'm so grateful. We talked about it before, but I'm just grateful that someday I'll have this for him to listen to, of like when he was little and what it looked like. And because he's a huge part of this story. Mm-hmm. It's his story too.
Yeah.
And he's just so little, but I want him to hear it when it was still fresh from me in ways that he's not able to hear it right now.
Yeah.
And just to be able to listen and be like, whoa,
This is a lot.
I lived that with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't understand it, but now I kind of understand where everything was, everything was happening the way it was. Bethany, I want to ask you a little bit about your grieving process with compared to like your husband's. I know that things are very different for a lot of people, how they grieve. Mm-hmm. And so I'm wondering how you guys have grieved, or how you've helped each other or allowed each other to grieve, and maybe how that's looked a little different. I just always want to shine a little light on the fact that we grieve differently, and it's okay that you grieve the way you do. And so, so can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think something that goes with that really well is after Milo died, I found this really beautiful thing I need to find again, that is talking about marriage after your child dies, and about how you were always doing this beautiful slow dance together that you learned and you knew the music, you knew the steps, and you just kept going with that dance. And then your child dies, and you're both hearing different music now, completely different. But you have to somehow perform the same slow dance steps together with hearing two different completely songs.
Yeah.
Like and that's hard. If you're hearing, if one's hearing like techno and another's here, it's like, how do you do that? And so it's like, because there's a starting over kind of, not only with yourself, but with your marriage. And I think that's a perfect picture to just show of like, it doesn't matter who you are and who the couple is. It's like, you are both hearing different music. You are both experiencing the loss in completely different ways, but you are trying to still be husband and wife, and you're trying to still be parents to your children. So you're trying to still do that same slow dance that you know so well, but somehow is so much harder than it used to be. And so I think that's a really good picture. But I think Simon really, really showed up for me in the beginning, which is like, just, I don't know how he did it, like he was obviously in pain, but I just think he just was like, she has to go through this. Like, I'm at least going to stand as strong by her side as I physically can.
Yes.
And he cared for me so well for so long. But then he got to a point where he was breaking, that it was like he couldn't do that anymore. It wasn't going to, he couldn't, as much as it was hard for me when that stopped, because it was like I was used to it being a certain way of like, I had Simon in this certain way.
Yes.
But it was always he always needed to kind of go off in his own way to grieve it in the way that he needed to, and not just be my husband in it.
Yes.
And there was a pain in that because he did what he needed to do. And I'm so grateful for it, but then he needed to grieve, and I can't, but because he had tried to stand strong for a certain amount of time, there was a big crash kind of for him.
Yeah.
And so, but I think I think there's been moments where it feels like, whoa, we're so on the same page of like the way that we see it and feel it right now in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of other times where, especially those first few months, that I just needed to talk about it until I'm blue in the face. And he's like, I don't really want to talk about it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm not in pain. I would rather just drink a glass of wine and watch a show, and and that's okay. But it's just like that we're in two different spots a lot, and that's hard. It's hard because you want to have grace for each other so much, and you try to find that, but it's like you kind of just expect your person that's also the parent of the child that died to grieve in the same way, and they can't because they're a different person to you.
Yeah.
And I think we're still trying to learn that and honor each other's grief in the way that it looks different. Like because we see Milo as like a songbird, and he was really into like bird watching for a while, and I was doing like needlepoint felting for a while. We're just doing our own thing of like, I'm bringing Milo into the house in these tangible ways, but he's needing to kind of do things away. Like he likes to do a lot of yard work and get outside in a different way. And I think he's a lot more quiet and internal about his grief a lot more than I'm. A lot messier and louder about my grief with Milo. But yeah, there's still moments that we are very much so on the same page. And yeah, I think we're still figuring it out since it's only been a year, you know.
It is. I love that analogy of the slow dance and then switching the music, and you're hearing two different things, because we've all, I don't know if people have been to those silent disco type things where everybody has their own headphones and they're listening to different music, and you're like, what are you dancing to? And that's kind of what it feels like sometimes.
This doesn't match.
Yes,
but it's a perfect picture for marriage after your child dies.
Yeah. And you're just trying to work it out still and stay connected. Like, dance partners usually have to keep a handhold of each other. And sometimes it's just fingertips, and other times it's full body press. And so that's a beautiful picture of how complicated it is. Like,
so complicated.
It's kind of messy.
It's so messy. Yeah. It just, and there's a pain in that of like, I have grieved thinking about me and Simon pre-kids, even just before, of just like those young people that just dreamed of, we want 4 children. Yes. Now it's like, am I going to be able to buckle up and have a third after, especially with my case of like, I had one almost die and then one did.
Yeah.
And then likely my placenta is going to give out again. And we could maybe catch it, but it's like the fear and like, yeah, I don't think 4 kids is happening. And so it's like, I think about our wedding day, and there's so many people in our life. We had this beautiful outdoor wedding with the most perfect everything. And there's still people, 10 years down the line, that's the most beautiful wedding I've ever been to. But I've cried about it multiple times of just like, the pain of just like, those people didn't know what was coming.
Yeah.
And I hate that for them.
Yeah.
I hate that for them, and just what our relationship looked like, and the way that we dreamed, and the way that we performed our slow dance. It's painful.
Yeah. Yeah.
For that to change so much. And
yes, you're mourning your old selves.
Our old relationship.
Your old relationship. Yes.
All of it. Yeah. I look at old pictures and I'm like, we might not actually look different, but it's like you do, because it's like, it's like there's just a joy behind your smile and behind your eyes that you don't get back after your child dies, I think. Like, even if you experience joy, my therapist said it so early in one of our first sessions after Milo of, when you have something like this happen, your capacity for joy and pain gets blown out. So
Whoa.
like
Yes.
some people that don't experience crazy pain in their life, their capacity is maybe like this.
Yep.
And then other people go through a lot and it's like this, but then people like us, it's like the capacity is like huge.
Yeah.
So it just means your ability to feel pain is way down there.
Yeah.
But what people do in this kind of way, in this situation a lot, is that they get stuck somewhere in the middle. Like, I'm not going to let myself feel all the pain, and I'm also not going to let myself feel joy again.
Yep.
And they get stuck on this thing. And she was like, I don't want that for you. Like, you're going to get thrown in the deep darkness of this pain forever for the rest of your life. But then let yourself get thrown in the moments of joy. Because it doesn't get rid of this part. That part's there, and it doesn't get rid of Milo.
Yep.
It's just allowing yourself, okay, my capacity now is all the way out to here.
Yep.
And I am going to, no matter how messy and painful and dark it looks, I can also then let myself feel even more joy than people that have not experienced pain like this.
Yes.
You know, because of the capacity.
Oh, yeah.
So I refuse to let myself get stuck on that. I'm like, I'm constantly feeling the pain all the way there so that I can have moments. And I feel like because I'm only a year out, I've not had that many moments of feeling the joy, but I believe that I will get more of it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, I think in the beginning it felt like, oh, that means like, I don't care about Milo. And it's like, no, it's actually because of Milo that can come.
Yep.
And they can both be true. Like,
yes,
this is the deepest, darkest, most painful thing that will never leave me. But also because of that, it's blown my capacity to see joy and to love and to even live in a moment deeper. I feel like I live sometimes moments deeper than I ever could before because I know how fragile life is, and I've lost a child, that I have these moments with Lincoln that maybe I never would have had in the same way, because it's like my capacity for these things are just,
you changed your, like, I feel like that's a great way of putting it. It's like, I feel like I've just expanded like who I am as I've gone from this hard time, and I've just gotten, bigger, and like you said, my capacity is bigger and wider, and that is something to also be celebrated, because it's some, you got to look for all the silver linings in difficulty like this. So
well, even my therapist was like, the most beautiful people you could ever think of, not like outward beauty, but true beauty, have experienced real pain that make them, that's why they're so beautiful, because they also are in the depths of pain, but then it also makes them be able to be more beautiful and more joyful than the people that have a smaller capacity because they've not been through as much. So I think that's always a good picture, especially for not getting stuck too. And letting the moments that kick me all the way down to the ground, just let them come, because it's like, I'm going to keep, for the rest of my life, I'm going to feel this pain and I'm going to get thrown into the depths of the pain. But I don't want to get stuck in the pain or stuck somewhere in the middle. I want to be able to go enjoy and have it just be like a thing that I'm just constantly getting thrown about. But it's beautiful and it's messy, and it's just, for some reason, it's my life. And
I want to say one thing that I think that is interesting to point out is that you talk about, even though we have this expanded capacity, some people just get stuck in the middle. And I think because that's one of the things that my therapist talked to us about when we were pregnant with our son after our loss, and she said, you know what, if you are protecting yourself so much from that same pain, you're never going to feel the joy, and you're kind of bracing for impact almost, and so you don't prepare for the beautiful things that are going to happen. And that really changed
miss out on the beauty.
Yes, exactly. It changed my perspective because I'm like, I am not attaching myself to this child. And because of what she said, I was like, oh, okay. I need to stop just bracing that everything bad is going to happen. Like I need to give myself some hope to look forward to. So I don't know.
And even for them,
yes,
you know, that it's like, yeah.
Yeah, because Felix, my other son, he needs me just as much as I need him, and I need to show up for him. Like you said. So for Lincoln, you just need to show up for him. Yeah. So beautiful.
Something cool that my therapist said too was that if we do have another kid, you know, and this is true if Milo wouldn't have died, but they will carry pieces of Milo inside of them just because Milo's DNA is now in my DNA.
Yeah.
So then it will actually change, you know, if we have another child, they'll be a different child because Milo existed than if Milo didn't exist.
Yeah.
And again, that's true if Milo were here. And it's true even with Lincoln. Lincoln will have affected who they are. But what's cool is that I can see almost like, oh, like Lincoln got to be here. I didn't get to know Milo and stuff. And it's like getting to tell that child, and for you to get to tell Felix, like you carry pieces of him. Like there's living pieces. You are who you are. You exist as who you are because they existed.
Yeah.
Because Milo ever existed. And that will be a beautiful gift if I do have a kid again, to just be able to be like, you are who you are because he ever existed. So you know him on a different level.
Yep. That's it. And that's what we think of Felix. Yep. Bethany, I do want to ask you, because this is actually one of the emails that I sent to you while we were talking about like coming onto the podcast. About I just said, hey, how are you doing with the holidays? And I think holidays in general can be real tricky. So I'm curious, how were the holidays for you? Christmas is always kind of tricky, I think. So I'm curious how that went for you guys. And
Halloween was also like, because similar to what you said, we always do family costumes.
Yes.
So that was really hard to just kind of like, I had always, even during my pregnancy, we had said that we would do Daniel Tiger, and Lincoln would be Daniel Tiger, and I was Katarina. Simon was Prince Wednesday, which he didn't like, but he was perfect.
He'll get along with it.
Milo was gonna be like the owl or whatever.
Oh yes,
and so, having him not be there was really hard, but to still need to do it. And we wanted to get out of the house, so we went to like Boo at the zoo and tried to do that. Thanksgiving was really painful because the Thanksgiving prior, we had gone around the table and said what we were thankful for, and both me and Simon said Milo and our two boys. And I've said it so much, but like, what a time to be alive when both of my boys were, just like that little snippet of almost 9 months of just getting to be alive when both of my boys were. And I don't get to experience that again, but I grieve that time, but I also hold that time so close to my heart. But there was pain in that. But then Christmas is just my favorite holiday.
Yeah.
And I had gotten these stockings a long time ago that I always wanted to get our names on. So then I had them embroidered with all of our names this year. So Milo had his own little stocking. And then I got us teddy bear Christmas pajamas that I found, which is actually from the same company of the year prior when I was super pregnant with Milo that we had got pajamas from. So it's just so cute that this year then they came out with teddy bear ones, which was like so meant to be for us. And so then Christina came over. She took some pictures of us. I had made some ornaments for Milo. I made an ornament out of his swaddle, or part of his swaddle. And I have a little teddy bear ornament. I had these ornaments. I had a carnation pressed ornament for him too. So I kind of had this idea of her taking pictures of us putting the Milo ornaments on the tree. Yeah. And so she captured that, and we were in our little Christmas pajamas. It was all really painful, but then his stocking was up. We did put some stuff in his stocking, and I wrapped a present that was for the family from Milo. Yeah. like little things like that just felt like something I needed. But after I put Lincoln down to bed that night, I just crashed because the year prior I was so pregnant and I had Simon on Christmas night take a picture of me in front of the tree. You know, like that picture that people love to do with their belly. And I remember saying, next year you can take one of me holding Milo in front of the tree. And so just kind of, again, living that parallel and then not having him in my arms. And I just came in his room and I just was face planted on his rug and just cried so loud and so deep after I got Lincoln to bed, of just all the ways that day looked, that it should have looked so different. And so I wrote him a little something that I can share with you, just
that would be wonderful.
Christmas. My first Christmas without you. This Christmas is the first Christmas of so many without you. The first of so many empty chairs and empty stockings. Missed moments. I can wrap you presents and fill your stocking, but without you here to open them, it's not the same. It's empty. I won't get to grab you from your crib and shout Merry Christmas. I'll never hear your Christmas morning squeals, the sound of your feet on the floor alongside Lincoln's. I won't get to watch Lincoln help you open presents and see you want everything he has. I wish I could put you in your first pair of Christmas pajamas. I wish I could see the world through your eyes at this time of year. Similar yet different to Lincoln because you are your own little person. I desperately want to wrap you gifts that I know you will love. This is also my first Christmas as this person, the one trying to survive in a world without you, fighting for a life that still is beautiful and good. My first Christmas as this new broken version of myself. I'm easily overwhelmed, overstimulated, disconnected, overly sensitive, emotional, depressed, exhausted, anxious, and sad, even when I'm smiling or laughing. I love Christmas and I always have. It's my favorite time of year and so magical to me. But some of the magic is gone now. The picture right in front of me of how it is versus how it should be. Life with you, life without you versus the beautiful one with you in my head. There's a sting and a heaviness that this year now holds that I've never experienced in my life. I'm also aware that what I'm feeling isn't specific to this year. It won't be left behind in the year of 2025. This pain, grief, longing, emptiness, and desire to mother you here on earth, it's all coming with me into each new year. It's hard to let go of what this time of year used to be. It wasn't learning about Santa that stole the joy. It was losing you. This is my first Christmas that I feel truly grown up, not because of being older or wiser, but because of the weight I now carry. We have been continuing to do all the fun Christmas activities and traditions. Technically, on the outside looking in, this year doesn't look much different than last year. It feels impossibly different to me. Some of the heart is gone, and maybe the heart is what holds the true magic. Last year, your arrival was around the corner. With each of your little kicks on Christmas Day, I was reminded of how full this year would be. I dreamed of you and I spoke of you constantly. I remember grabbing my tummy, knowing you could hear me and saying, Merry Christmas, my little Milo, I love you. You died exactly 1 month after Christmas. This year, I won't get to bust through your door and pick up your almost 1-year-old body and look at your cute grinning face. Instead, I'll quietly open your bedroom door, close my eyes and say, Merry Christmas, my little Milo, I love you, in hopes that you can still hear me.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That's perfect. Bethany, I'm so grateful for the time that we've had together and also just your heart. You love deeply and fiercely, and you can tell it. And I bet Milo is quite proud of you to have you as a mom.
Thank you.
Bethany, thank you. Thank you so much again for your time, for your sharing of Milo and sharing of your family with us today. And I have learned a ton. I'm so grateful. I feel like I've had a lot of really aha moments also of this grief journey that we're in the middle of. So thank you again for coming on and sharing with us.
Thank you so much for listening and crying with me and just also just being able to talk to someone that has walked something like this, so similar, losing your child, you know the pain. And we so often feel so lonely because so many people around us don't know this pain. So to just have even just a moment with you to just cry together and to just know that you're crying with me because you know this pain, that there is a beauty to that. And I feel so much more seen than I can with others.
Yeah.
And that helps you not feel as alone. So thank you so much for that.
Oh, our pleasure, our pleasure. The last thing I want to ask you, Bethany, is there anything you want to say about Milo before we sign off today?
Just that I'm proud of who he is, and I'm so grateful for him and the time that we had together, even though it was cut so short. And I'm proud of him for fighting because he fought. He really, really fought. And I just hope he knows and feels the love that we all have for him, and that life will never be as beautiful as it could be if he were here. You know, it would be so much more beautiful with him here, but I'm going to keep fighting for beauty to follow his death because he deserves that.
That was beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you again, Bethany.
Thank you.
Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/Libsyn today. That's JERRY.ai/LIBSYN.